and it's almost 10 years and I still get emotional about it. I remember thinking at one point, I now know what heartache, or when your heart hurts, what that really means.
Hi folks, I'm Bruce Hitchen, and welcome back to Center Lane and another edition of Andy's Stang. We're about to dig into the restoration of this 1967 Mustang Coupe. But before we do that, it's important to understand a little bit about the history of the car. I spoke to Andy and to his mom Jacqueline to find out what this car meant to them and to their family. Now, before we hear from them, I would like to remind you to subscribe to my channel by clicking the link below, and also click the bell so you'll be notified of any future additions. Well, I'm the current owner of the car. I feel like it still belongs to Andy in some way and that I'm just taking care of it. His dad, Glen, owned this car for 26 years before tragically passing away in 2011. It was his intent to do some work on the car and make it a father-son project, and then eventually pass it along to Andy. He actually bought this car way back in 1985.
The guy across the lane, two down, actually had the Mustang first and had done a bit of the restoration, and Glen had always been talking to him and interested. And in 1985, Glen graduated high school, and this guy was looking to sell the Mustang, so he came to Glen and he said, look, I'm going to sell the car, are you interested? And, didn't have to ask twice.
Oh, he loved it. It was, I honestly, I think it was probably the first car that he purchased on his own, so yeah, he loved that car more than anything.
This car was always his baby. So a second car in that it didn't go out when it was really raining, it didn't go out in the winter time, it wouldn't go out in the spring until after the street cleaners had come and cleared all the debris off the roads so it wouldn't get a chip, but he did take it out quite a bit. So second car probably, first love, absolutely. I don't know, it's always just been a part of Glen. I don't ever remember a spring or a summer where there wasn't that day when I kind of thought, oh yeah, that's going to be car cleaning day. And sure enough, she'd come out of the garage and get a wash and a vacuum, and the days when he's going to drive it to work. Our date nights, like I said, before we had kids, that was our date night car, especially in the summer. And we would drive it out to White Rock and go out to Crescent Beach or out to the pier, drive it up to Bunsen Lake and have a picnic. Yeah, it was always that car. It was, yeah, I don't know, it was just, there's some attachment to that car that I have as well. Certainly nothing like Glen has or Andy has, but yeah, it was always part of our life in some way. Always a conversation starter, no matter where we went. People would always come up to us in parking lots and want to talk to him about the car, and the color's quite unusual. It's that burgundy claret color, which you don't see a lot of, and that was, I think, one of the things that always drew people to the car was, one, it's a classic car, but two, it's a color they didn't see a whole lot of. And yeah, we always had a lot of people that would come around and want to talk about the car, want to look at the car. I was never allowed to drive it. It was always too much car for me. So when we moved from our house in Coquitlam into Port Moody, it's time to move the car. And I said, okay, well, I'll drive the car up to the house. It's not far, it was, 5K.
That wasn't gonna happen, so we had to call his friend from Richmond or something, drive an hour away to come, drive the Mustang, 15 minutes down the road to our new house.
As Andy got a little bit older, it was, 14, 15, he was taking more and more of an interest in the car, and you'd get into those routines of in the spring, Glen would take it out, give it a wash. Andy would go in and help him, and he'd, want to learn how to drive. So that was always the plan, and Glen actually stopped doing some maintenance and work on it. His plan was that Andy was going to learn how do you actually take care of a car? How do the parts work? What do spark plugs do? How do you change it? All of that kind of stuff. So that was always something that they wanted to do.
I think the intention was to kind of give me that car, but circumstances changed, and never really got the opportunity to do that.
That was just, it was always something there that this was, he and I were going to do it. And they would go to the pick-apart place because people would steal the Mustang letters off the back of the trunk all the time. So you'd have to go to the parts places and look for an old Mustang or try to replace that. And those were Saturday afternoon things that the boys would go and do. And Michelle and I would go do girl stuff, and the boys would go do stuff with the car. And Yeah, it was just unfortunate driving a stick. You know, everybody has an automatic these days. The Mustang's a little bit difficult to drive. The clutch is a little sensitive. So just little things like that, you know, how to take him out and teach him how to do this, and just have that father-son bond over something that they both had a passion for and cared about.
The death of a family member has a huge impact on those left behind. But hearing about Glen's untimely passing has given me even greater incentive to take on this project.
It was a big shock. It definitely happened suddenly. It wasn't something, you know, that we were expecting. I remember it was a normal day. I think it was a Monday. We went to the movie theater or something like that. Went for dinner the night before as a family, and then I went to work in the morning, and then by lunchtime, I got told that that was it.
It's not a feeling I can describe. I don't have the words for it. I just know that, you know, people say, oh, there's like a piece of your soul missing. Yes, there's it's hard. You have this weight on your shoulders to now kind of pick up everything. Yes. But I mean, I lost my best friend, I lost my soulmate. I was worried about the kids. You know, they were at a very tenuous age, 17 and 15. So 17 going into grade 12, I mean, you know, every mother's mind just goes to all the worst things that could possibly happen.
Yeah, the car was a reminder. I mean, it sat in the garage covered, so every time you'd come home from the store or whatever, you'd have to walk past it to get into the house. So, you would always see it and be reminded of what happened and what didn't happen with the car. So yeah, that was tough as well.
It is a reminder, right? It's a very tangible reminder, and you see things all the time when loved ones pass. You see, a plate or a spoon or a vacation spot that they liked. But the Mustang was different. It was something that was always there, that I saw every morning, every night. Things that you walked by it all the time.
In the years since Glen's passing, Andy would come by to visit my sons. He and I would often take a few minutes out to talk about the car, and he'd tell me about his plans for restoring it. So he definitely had some ideas about what he wanted to do to this car.
I think my vision was kind of keep it between sort of how he had the car when he was younger and a fully restored, 100% sort of new condition car, right? Like, the things I definitely wanted to fix would be under the hood, make sure the engine is working properly, definitely the chrome on the bumpers. I know there's a few scratches of paint, and some places the paint didn't really, take to the car as well. So I think I really wanted to fix up the paint and some of the exterior work to brand new, but the inside, the interior, I really wanted to keep kind of, as is as much as possible.
With all the discussion we had had about this car over the years, I was really surprised when Andy reached out to me and said he was thinking about selling it.
I think he struggled with the decision. I think it was a hard one for him to make, and I think he came to the realization that it's above what he's able to do. And when he said he was going to sell it, I have to admit, I was a little bit taken aback. I kind of thought, well, what do you mean? Like, you don't want to give this a try? And I could understand on one hand, like the logical, rational side of me said that's a good decision. But the emotional side of me thought, well, your dad, this is something your dad gave to you. This is something he wanted you to have.
To not have that experience of being able to share those memories with my dad, it kind of lost the meaning for me to fix it up. It would be nice to fix it up, but it just wouldn't be the same. It'd just be kind of something that almost like a project work that I had to do, rather something, I'd look forward to and enjoy doing. So for me, to fix it up wasn't really the route I was willing to take with it, to be honest.
I think it was difficult for him to actually take the cover off that and then start to think about, what do I do with this? Because there was this, plan that he and his dad had, and how do you start thinking, am I living up to that expectation?
Do I try to rent a storage locker or take the car to a mechanic and, leave it there for a couple months and, foot the bill for him to fix it up and make it a running condition, or do I just move on from it? So when I approached you about it, it seemed like a good compromise because I am friends with your boys. So, if I do ever want to see the car, or, want to come by and have a look and have a memory, it's here. I know it's in good hands.
And then when he said he was selling it to you, and this is what you were going to be doing with it, and I thought, you know what, this is the best thing ever, because he still has that opportunity to be a part of it, to share his car with somebody who has a love and appreciation for it as well, and is going to treat her well. So I think it worked out for the best.
You know what, I think you'd be really happy with it. I think much how I sort of, take comfort in knowing it's going to somebody who cares about it. I think that was the biggest thing for him, is that he wanted to have a car, you know, that he could use the rest of his life, and when he was done with it, give it to somebody else who would have the same enjoyment out of it. So I think he would have much the same thoughts as me. He'd be a little bit sad to see it going, but he'd be very happy that that somebody like yourself, who was going to take care of it and put the work and effort into it, gets to enjoy the car.
I'm excited to see how she's going to turn out. I really, really am. And, I'm almost as excited as Andy to kind of learn how things work and, see her come back together, and what are the parts of her that get to stay and what are the parts that have to be replaced. But, I mean, I remember just her being sparkly and shiny and, just this powerful car, which was a lot of fun and a lot of good memories in it. So I'm really excited to see how it turns out. And like you say, what's the next chapter for her? What's her story going to be after this?
Both Andy and his mom have high expectations for how this car is going to turn out. So the pressure is on for me to do a great job of restoring it and meet both of their expectations, but also to meet my own expectations. I have a vision for the car, and I've looked at a lot of Mustangs online to get a sense of what I think I want this car to look like when it's all done. Because the car has had some modifications over the years, I'm not stuck on doing an original restoration to this car and keeping it exactly stock. And there are some modifications that I would like to do to it. At the same time, I don't want to deviate too much from the original car. I don't want to turn this into a hot rod, so I'm striking a balance between restoration and Restomod. I've scoured the internet to find some examples of what I'd like this car to look like. These pictures are the closest to what I envision the car looking like when it's all done. Now, if you have any ideas on what you think I should do to the car, or things that I should watch out for along the way, I'd love to hear from you, so please leave me a message in the comments. Last time, I told you that the transmission wasn't working. Well, since then, I've determined that it's actually the shifter that was preventing the car from going into gear. Next time, I'm hoping to have the shifter back in the car, and then we're going to take a closer look at how I'm going to manage this project. If you like this episode, please subscribe to my channel and click the bell below to be notified of the next episode. Until then, thanks for watching.